Sorry about that. That was my fault. But all our attendees stayed on, and it's live on Facebook and YouTube again.
Good morning. Good morning, County Administrator Wilson. Good morning, Deputy County Administrator Joy Bivens, and our guests. Before I pass it along to you, I just wanted to say that we started with a glitch. This is the story of reentry, but we'll push past it with our challenges. If you can welcome us with your greeting, we'd appreciate that. Thank you for attending today.
Thank you, Mr. Turner. I'm Kenneth Wilson, County Administrator. I'm pleased to be speaking this morning regarding the kickoff of Reentry Week here in Franklin County. Today's conversations will focus upon employment, entrepreneurship, education, and housing. I'm glad that the Franklin County Office of Justice Policy and Programs and many other partners in the community have made it a priority to highlight the supportive services needed and provided to individuals re-entering the county each year. This is a significant thing because more than 600,000 individuals return to our communities from state and federal prisons each year. And for me, this week is really about providing opportunities for individuals to restore themselves and live their best life after returning from prison, because too many people have faced so many barriers upon reentry where they end up losing hope and many times returning to incarceration. So let's make Franklin County a place where fewer people feel the need to return to their ways of the past and turn the page to a new future. I will now turn the conversation over to Deputy County Administrator Joy Bivens for Health and Human Services.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you so much. Thank you to the Department of Justice Policy and Programs. You all do such a phenomenal job every day working with our partners for our community and our residents. Again, good morning. My name is Joy Bivens. I'm the Deputy County Administrator of Health and Human Services for under the Board of Commissioners for Franklin County. On behalf of the Franklin County Commissioners, we are proud to kick off our Reentry Week 2021, because 2020 was a difficult year for many of us. So I'm glad we're able to do this. This week is about having conversations, making connections, and building community for the thousands of Franklin County residents who have been involved in our justice systems. It is impossible to ignore the racial disparities in our justice system, in arrest, in incarcerations, as well as recidivism. As we strive to build a more equitable justice system, it is absolutely critical that we extend opportunities to everyone, including our justice-involved and restored citizens. Today's focus is, as County Administrator said, is education, entrepreneurship, work, and housing. Finding a living wage in affordable housing is very significant and many times poses itself a barrier to many of our residents, especially our justice-involved residents. We'll be hearing from experts in the reentry field and employers and programs that just don't talk about a second chance. They will also help us and assist us in walking our residents to a second chance. So with that, again, I commend you all for all the hard work that you've done to put this together. I really do hope that this is impactful for the many residents and many of our partners, as it will be for me. So thank you.
Thank you, County Administrator Wilson, and also Deputy County Administrator Bivens. We started off a little rough, but again, that's the story of reentry. Good morning, everyone. Welcome. My name is Johnny Turner. I'm Franklin County's Reentry Services Coordinator, serving the Office of Justice Policy and Programs. Thank you for joining us, and welcome to Central Ohio Reentry Week 2021. Established under the Obama administration in 2016 and reinvigorated this year under President Biden, National Reentry Week aims to raise awareness of the importance of successful reentry and improve reentry outcomes for fellow Americans returning home. Nationally, each year, more than 600,000 individuals return to our neighborhoods after serving time in federal and state prisons, and over 9 million individuals cycle through local jails. Central Ohio Reentry Week 2021 is a collaborative effort. Although we haven't captured all our fellow service providers, interested members in our community, and partner organizations doing great work. The women and men who've participated represent various stripes, agencies, and organizations, and have worked together to develop a meaningful week we hope provides relevant information, and encourages those within the reentry community to stay the course, and invite all stakeholders to a seat at the table as we welcome home our fellow Franklin County neighbors. Each day has a theme. Today we have entrepreneurship, work, and housing. Tuesday's theme is finding our way. Wednesday, you will learn about juvenile justice. Thursday is all about faith, family, and relationships. And Friday's platform is policy and practice. You will hear from justice-involved individuals, professionals, elected officials, subject matter experts, leaders in our faith communities, authors, judges, and many other stakeholders as they discuss the importance of relationships and opportunities to build that next level of capacity. Our contributors will reflect upon lessons learned from the bench, share stories of recovery, and provide a firsthand glimpse of diversion programming at its finest. Justice-involved individuals will be encouraged to start a business or consider purchasing a home. You'll learn more about Franklin County's juvenile justice system and dive deep inside the why with authors and artists and their works. Matters of policy will be discussed, and we will learn more about the perspectives and experiences our new fellow American communities have regarding their justice-involved youth and young people. Please visit CentralOhioReentryWeek.com to see the full lineup of sessions and accompanying descriptions. Check times and the locations of the pop-up sites our friends at CORCC have organized, offering vouchers for birth certificates, state IDs, Ohio benefit sign-up, and much more. You can sign up for sessions that interest you, or simply tune in to CentralOhioReentryWeek.com site for the stream sessions all week long. I want to thank our county commissioners and administrators for all their support. I want to thank Columbus City Council, along with the cities of Reynoldsburg and Whitehall. And I want to give a special shout out and thank you to all the partners who've contributed to this collaborative effort, both directly and indirectly, and remind us that when we can do anything when we do it together, as this week will serve as yet another example of what we can accomplish together. Today, however, we're highlighting entrepreneurship, work, and housing. With our opening session entitled Employment, Training, and Opportunities, our guests today are Leland Bass from Urban League, Antonio Williams and Connor Lawrence from CEO, and Aiden McDonald by way of Columbia University's Justice Through Code to share a bit about their respective programs. Welcome, gentlemen, and let's start with Connor and Antonio. Can you briefly share a little bit about yourselves and your program?
Absolutely. Thank you for that great introduction, Mr. Turner. My name is Antonio Williams, and as Mr. Turner said, I am with the Center for Employment Opportunities here in Columbus, Ohio. My role within this organization is the life skills educator and recruiter. I basically meet with participants that are interested in our program, build relationships with our parole and probation officers and other community organizations around Columbus so that they can actually refer people to our program. And what we do is we are a workforce development reentry program where we provide our participants that have been recently incarcerated or are on supervision, and we provide them with transitional employment. So we take them through a small orientation class, a multi-day class that focuses on the CBI model, cognitive behavioral intervention. And once they graduate there, we actually provide them with transitional employment where we can then focus on a lot of the day-to-day decisions and helping them become productive citizens and those skills necessary to obtain full-time permanent employment. Now, again, within my role, I actually develop those relationships and explain to those people what we do, what we're here for, and get them set up to become enrolled in our organization. And I guess with that, I can turn it over to Connor.
Good morning, all. Yes, I work with Tony. I am the business account manager for our office at CEO. What I do on the employer side is I work with employers in Columbus to see who is what we call a second chance champion, who is wanting to work with clients with a lived experience, with a lived history, and who is wanting to partner with our organization to help get these clients into some careers here in Columbus. So on the employer side, I work with building relationships with them in the city, seeing who has fits in certain fields of interest for my clients. And then what I do is I match my clients and my caseloads interests and their experience with those employer positions that are available and try to line them up via what their actual skills interests are. On the client side, I will say what I do with the program, what Tony was saying, they're working for us. I have them coming in, they get evaluated from me, seeing who is ready to go, who has their stuff together in terms of attendance, in terms of professionally being ready, document ready, making sure that they have available transportation and childcare, things like that. We want to make sure that they're comfortable, they're in a good state of mind, and that they're really ready to move and transition into a new season of life after they leave our program. So what I do is I kind of help make sure and see who is ready, who's at that stage in our program. We do very one-on-one quality-based assessments, and once they get to that point, I start working with them. Once they are placed, we do an extra arm of support for our people who are in retention. For a year, we want to stay connected to them, stay supportive of them and their journey, and make sure they're good to go into their.
Connor, I'm gonna jump in because you're breaking up a little bit, but we heard the vast majority of it, and I'll come back to you, gentlemen. Now to the busiest man in Franklin County, Leland Bass from the Urban League. Leland, can you share a little bit about your programming, sir?
Yes, thank you, Johnny. I really appreciate the opportunity to, share the information about building futures and driving futures to individuals that may be interested. Building Futures is a program that is put on in collaboration with Franklin County Jobs and Family Services, the Franklin County Board of Commissioners, with great support from County Administrator Ken Wilson, the Columbus Building Trades, and of course, the Columbus Urban League. And it was first brought about in 2018, and the goal was to give the opportunity to traditionally underserved people to have a pathway into the building trades, and also to educate the community about the opportunities that the building trades provided. So we wanted to, one, provide that opportunity, and two, help the building trades with their diversification efforts and allow the members of Columbus and Franklin County the opportunity to have that pathway that they traditionally had not had. And so when at the time Director Bivens and County Administrator Wilson tasked us with putting together the most comprehensive program we could think of that would not only provide training, but also would provide the supportive services and also the employment opportunity on the back end. So Building Futures was kind of a brainchild of a lot of different people, but as it sits now, it is a 12-week training program that's offered in the evenings, Monday through Thursday from 5 to 8 p.m. Each week that an individual was in the program, they do receive an educational stipend of $250. They are assigned a case manager that follows them for a year post-graduation, and they do have access to not only emergency assistance funds that are built into the program, but also all of the assistance that Franklin County Jobs and Family Services has in supportive services for individuals at any rate. So there's a lot of support that goes into each of our participants. So the first 4 weeks out of that 12 weeks is soft skills, and we use Dr. Lewis Dodley, who brings his own wealth of experience, knowledge, and really power to kind of do our soft skills, our professional skills, and also our cognitive behavioral therapy. We understood kind of right away that you cannot take people that have been in a cycle of unemployment and traditional poverty and just throw them to the wolves and throw them into employment. So we wanted to have a mechanism in place that not only dealt with the training as far as their work skills, but also that dealt with their mentality, that dealt with conflict resolution, that dealt with workplace etiquette, that dealt with how do you behave on the job site, how do you get along with your coworkers and your supervisor. So we wanted to put all those things in place the first 4 weeks to kind of set the foundation. The following 6 weeks are training that is provided by the Columbus Building and Construction Trades, and that is what we call core technical training. And that's when the students get to go into an actual lab, work with power tools, work with hand tools, get a chance to see what each trade offers. The great thing about Building Futures is when someone comes into the program, they have an opportunity to look at one of 18 different trades. So when they come in, they may have an idea of what they think they want to do, maybe carpentry or electrician. But the great thing is during their 12 weeks, they get exposed to virtually every trade there is as far as the skilled trades are concerned. And then towards the end, we kind of help them make the best decision as to where to go. But during those 6 weeks, we're monitoring their skill set. We're monitoring where it seems like their ability lies. And then towards the end of the total of 10 weeks, we kind of sit down with them and figure out which trade they're going to go into. And the great thing about Building Futures is then they're provided direct entry into an apprenticeship and an employment opportunity. So if, you know, along with our instructors, if it looks like that their skill set lies in the electricians, then they'll go into the electrical apprenticeship program. They'll be placed with one of our contractor employers, and they'll start their career opportunity with full benefits, wages, retirement, and healthcare. Like I said, once they have graduated from the program and went into employment, they still are eligible for our case management wraparound services for 1 year after that. So it's really been a successful model that we like to use. And when I say wraparound services, Joy and County Administrator Wilson will know that we tried to think of everything that would be a roadblock to the success of our participants. So it could be childcare, it could be housing, it could be legal issues. The great thing about Building Futures is we have the ability to attack all of those things. We've built relationships with car dealers where they'll give our participants guaranteed financing without them having to make a payment until they start working. We have relationships with childcare providers that have already the connections with Job and Family Services to kind of streamline that process. So we really tried to make it a program to where if you come in and do what you're supposed to do, the opportunity on the end is going to be there for you. We've had great success. We're at right around 88% graduation rate and 85% placement rate. For Building Futures, our average starting wage is about $23 an hour. And so we're really proud of those numbers, and we have a class in session now. We're really excited about this class. I don't want to go too far, but we did, because of the success of Building Futures, we have a spinoff program called Driving Futures. Really similar in the model. It's a little bit shorter. It's a 6-week program, but that program is designed to get people their CDL Class A license, and that program is run in combination with the county commissioners, Franklin County Jobs and Family Services, and the Teamsters. So when those individuals graduate, we're looking to employ them in a job with the Teamsters Union. So that's basically construction driving. So they're driving dump trucks, cement mixers, heavy equipment, or they're doing delivery services. So it might be Coca-Cola or Anheuser-Busch or something like that, but they'll be home daily. And that's the difference between what we do. So we're really focusing on people in the underserved community and also women, because we know there are a lot of single mothers out there that can't do the long haul trucking, but maybe they do want to have a CDL and make that kind of money. We wanted a program that would allow them to take advantage of that, but also be home with their families regularly. So I think that hopefully that answers most of your questions, but I'll be happy to take any questions that you may have.
Leland, I'm gonna tell you what you did. You just underscored the fact that you're busy. So I appreciate all that you just shared. Last but not least, our friend Aiden McDonald, by way of Columbia University's Justice Through Code. Aiden, can you share a bit about yourself and the work that you do?
Yeah, definitely happy to. And thank you so much to have me here. Great to see you, Johnny. Johnny was actually a graduate of our program with Justice Through Code. Yeah, so a little bit about Justice Through Code. We're a semester-long coding and interpersonal skills intensive offered at Columbia. It's a partnership between where I work at the Center for Justice and the Tamer Center for Social Enterprise at Columbia Business School. It's a program that I actually started after having spent 4 years in federal prison myself, having come home, had really difficulty finding jobs, and ended up at Columbia, we were really looking at how do we support people entering into jobs, but with a specific focus on high wage growth career track jobs that would pay in excess of $100,000 a year once kind of realize the full potential of the training. And so we do that through a semester-long intensive where we focus on both technical skills and interpersonal skills. For the technical skills aspect, we separate the course into 3 distinct phases. So we have what we call the Python bootcamp at first. Python's a very popular computer programming language. So we teach the fundamentals of programming in Python, as well as different computer science fundamentals. Phase 2, we move into the kind of individual tracks. So people will cover things like APIs, web scraping, data analysis, really dependent on what an individual's interests are, but also what they're thinking about for the final phase of the course, which is the capstone software project. During the capstone software project, groups of 2 or more students work together to conceptualize, design, and build out a software development project. During that phase, they're also paired with technical mentors for a 3-month mentorship cycle. And those mentors come from companies like Google, Amazon, Slack, some smaller startups as well. Those are really intended to give our students a chance to interface with somebody that's a seasoned professional in the industry, lean on their experience through the development of the project, but also be able to ask them questions. What's it like to work in a job? And begin to build that positive network to support people in their career transitions. In addition to that, as I said, we focus on the interpersonal skills aspect. Phase 1 is really resumes, cover letters, LinkedIn profiles, but really focusing on what's the difference between a resume for a kind of lower wage job or that's not a career track, and really focusing on how to build those resumes for the tech industry. During that period, students are also paired with Columbia Business School MBA students who have gone through a course taught by our faculty director at the business school, Damon Phillips, and they've really, that Black Week course is focused on the causes and consequences of mass incarceration. These students also go into New York State prisons to teach business case studies as well. So they work with students as advisors throughout the length of the course. Phase 2, we move into narrative and storytelling. So really focusing on if you're in the workforce and the topic of prior incarceration comes up, how do we really tell these stories in a way that the audience can see a version of themselves in the person that's telling the story? So we talk a lot about kind of the universal truths of the human condition in terms of feeling alone or, having economic troubles or any of these other things that are resonant that people can, see a version of themselves again in the person that's telling the story. And then phase 3 is job outcomes. We focus on interviewing, job search, kind of anything that people would need to know during that process. And then upon completion, we work with students. We usually say placement takes anywhere from 3 to 12 months. We have a lot of single mothers in the program, or for them, their demands while they're studying are greater. And so sometimes it takes them a little bit longer to transition, or if people are working full time, which most of our students are, but we end up supporting for really until somebody gets into a job. We usually target within a year, but it is something. Actually, I just helped somebody last week that we secured a job for, and she had been working full time while she was in the program and continued to work on her skill set afterwards to embark on that transition. And that's pretty much a bird's eye view of the program.
Thank you, Aiden. And not only am I a graduate, what I found myself is to really have been able to build my capacity in my job, do a little data science, think about things differently. And it was a really good experience for me. So I appreciate the program and I appreciate you being here. So this is a quicker round, back to Antonio and Connor. I've had a couple of individuals that I've referred to you, some individuals that have done some long prison stints, been away from work, and just needed to get their feet wet again, get back into the feel and the movement of work, right? And so when I sent them to you, you did a really, really good job. Can you speak a little bit about the importance of how your program is set up so that it is welcoming and inviting for all that comes, and how you prepare them for that next steps moving forward?
Well, I guess I can start out. Since I'm the first person that they get to meet when someone is referred to us, I'm almost like a cheerleader, I guess I would say, for lack of a better word, like showing them that they can do what they are setting out to do, making sure that they believe in themselves, show them that there are opportunities out there for them, help them with decision making. So I try to, within our class set, when they're going through my portion of it, we're always talking about what does it look like to be successful? What are dreams and goals that you have? Some of them come into the program, they're not sure. So a lot of it is helping them paint a picture so they can see themselves in those successful situations. And so when they are done with me, they actually start working on our work crew, where it may start out a little bit rocky sometimes, but that's what this is utilized for: transitional employment, to help them build those skills that they need to build. And we hear it all the time, as participants have come through the program and so thankful and now believing in themselves that they can actually do it, and just showing them that it just takes one step at a time. So a lot of the things that we do is on a one-on-one situation by situation basis, and just helping them build skills that they need by showing them how to go to work every day, the mindset that you have to have when you get to work, the positivity, thinking on the positive as opposed to the negative. Okay, there's going to be roadblocks and situations, but how are we going to solve this problem? How are we going to work through these issues? So I think in that scenario, when it comes to preparing them, we do a really good job of that, as far as getting them on the daily, day-to-day, like getting to that next phase of employment, and just moving on with their lives. So, Connor, if you want to jump in.
Yeah, definitely. And I also, before I continue the spiel, I want to highlight and say that Tony does an amazing job with our clients when they're first coming into the program, and they are many times just coming home, and they're looking for a safe space. They're looking for a place where they can have the headspace to actually transition and think about what they need to take care of, what they need to do moving forward, because everybody's story is different, and everybody has a list of obstacles to full-time employment when they're first coming into our program that they have to tackle individually. And I think Tony does an amazing job of assessing those and giving them a warm welcome. We're really, really glad you're here. And then continuing that into here's what to expect, here's what to prepare for the next phase. And then moving past that, here's some skill building information that you're going to be working on while you're in this program. So kind of an intro into the next phase. I will say that while they're on our crews, our site supervisors do an amazing job of supervising them and giving them day-to-day real life coaching of, hey, when you get in with a full-time employer, permanent in a new career and a new job, you can do this, you can't do this, you should do this, you shouldn't do that. They do a really good job of pulling them aside and giving them one-on-one mentoring with grace. This idea of, let's give you some constructive criticism because we're still on your team, we're still for you. And I will say the spiel that I give in Tony's class that I will give now. We always tell participants when I walk in there, this is a voluntary program. You have to want to be here. The spiel that I always give, I'm a huge boxing fan. I think it's a great analogy for life. So Tony's going to roll his eyes, and I'm going to give my analogy. That you coming into this program, you are the fighter. We will be your support people, will be your cut man, will be in the corner when the bell sounds, but you're the person in the ring, and this is your fight. So however we can help do this, we will. I will put the sweat, I will match it, but you have to put the effort in too. So we tell that to every one of our clients. This is an empowerment program. This is not where we want you to land permanently. It's about your peace of mind and how are we gonna get to that point, that peace of mind. It's not about a dollar amount. It's not about an hour wage. It's not about certain benefits. It's about holistic overall peace of mind. How are we going to get you to that point 2 years down the road? How are you going to be sleeping well at night from where you are now to getting to that point of feeling normalcy again? Because we know that coming.
Connor, I have to jump in again. Listen, it seems like the longer you talk, you were frozen with like a jab to your face, and it seems like the longer you talk, like you sound like you're in Coshocton. So forgive me for jumping in, but I'm gonna help you out. We got most of what you said.
Sorry, my internet is very unstable. I apologize. I'm gonna try to switch connections.
Yeah, thank you. So to you, Leland, I know a couple of individuals over a short time that when they get into programs such as the one that you offer, their lives actually change, especially when it's in the 20 and 20 plus wage range. So can you talk a little bit about how really valuable it is that what you do and what your programs offer, and how they really move Franklin County residents up socioeconomically and what that means for their families and their communities?
Yeah, it is like I said, when we designed this program, we really wanted this to be a career path and a pathway to individuals being able to get themselves into the middle class, be able to take care of their families, and be able to realize the dreams that they may have harbored but didn't think they were capable of obtaining. So our graduates now, some of our first graduates from 2018 have been in the trades for going on 4 years. Several of them have already bought homes. Most of them own their own cars. Some of them have even started their own businesses. I have a graduate of the program that graduated in 2018 that still works in the trades and bought a car dealership. So now he's a partner with us to be able to get transportation for the new graduates that are coming out. So the dollars that these individuals are making, and like I said, some of them make close to $100,000 now, depending on when they graduated. They're putting that money back into their community as homeowners, as individuals that support small businesses, and as individuals that are starting their own businesses. And so that is something that we definitely like to highlight. We have a new class in, and we just had like a mixer where we brought in a lot of the people that support the program, but also some of our previous graduates to speak to the class so that they can see and talk to and get the background of someone that came through the program just like them and see where they are and what it took to get them there. And so it gives them kind of a roadmap to where they can be at if they continue on the path that they're on. So definitely our greatest advocates are our previous graduates. Most of the people that come in now to try to sign up and get on the waiting list for Building Futures heard about it from someone that's been through Building Futures or has a family member that has gone through it. So those are the stories that, make us understand that what we're doing is important and that it's working, because we get a chance to see these individuals in our own communities thriving and being successful. And then they're bringing their family and people that they know to come into the class so that they have the same opportunity. So it's really been something that's been a pleasure and a joy to be able to do as a living, to get up every day and know that you're helping to provide people in your community with access to live their dreams.
Thank you, Leland. And again, the program is hot. So Aiden, I shared with you before, Central Ohio has a very robust IT community and environment. We're home to a lot of different companies, not just the Facebooks and the Googles that have essentially placed themselves in our community, but Root Insurance, Rev One is here as a business incubator. Can you talk a little bit more about why IT for us? How do we get into IT? how expansive is it for us and where are the opportunities?
Yeah, definitely happy to. I mean, I think this is a lot of the reason why we focused on tech training at Columbia, right? Is because if you look at like the inequity that was just really brought to the forefront as a result of the pandemic, we really need COVID-proof and really future-looking careers, right? And I think that the training in tech provides an opportunity to engage in really the next wave of our economy, right? In a way where people can ensure a living wage for a long time to come, and also participate in building technology that's affecting all of our lives, right? A lot of what we talk about in Just Through Code is that if we're having companies that are really making these decisions on behalf of our entire country about the technology that they're building, it's so necessary that we have a diverse group of people that are going into working in these tech companies. And one of the things that we see across the board right now is that's not happening, right? And that training is not happening. And I think that one of the things that Antonio said, which I thought was really great, and I think is the work that all of us are engaged in here, is really supporting people and rethinking what's possible for themselves, right? I think that that's our first task. You know, Johnny, because you've gone through the program, we have people come in at the beginning that have been directly impacted or have grown up in the same neighborhoods that a lot of our students have in New York and in other areas, and are now working in tech. And so I think it's a matter of really being supportive. Like I talk a lot, obviously for myself as a formerly incarcerated man, but it's easier for me as a white male to look at a tech company. There's plenty of white males working there, right? And so I think it's being very purposeful about that effort that we make, and then really bringing other people, as Leland said, and I believe Antonio, back into the program who have succeeded, right? We're a little bit of a newer program. We launched spring 2020, but for example, for our graduation, which happens on June 3rd here, we're bringing one of our students where she just transitioned to a job making $175,000 a year. She started February 4th, 2020 in our program, right? So that is something that's possible. There is a pathway there. It is a lot of hard work, but as everyone does, I'm sure at these organizations, as well as CEO was mentioning, we'll be there to provide that support as long as people stay engaged. But the other thing that I would say as well is I think that for Ohio specifically, there's the local impact with the companies that you're looking at, but also one of the few benefits of COVID has been really a fundamental transformation of what it means to work. And so we're seeing a lot of people now that we have in places throughout the country that are working in San Francisco. They're taking an apprenticeship through people that we work with in New York, and that possibility is there to enter into that workforce, both like locally, but then also in other areas.
Thank you. So Leland, back to you. Who are some of the employers that some of the participants actually transition over into with the programs that you shared about?
So the great thing about our program is that each of the building trades. So I guess the best way I can explain is when we tell our participants when they come in, when they finish the program, they won't have to interview for a job. They won't have to go through a lot of the hoops that a lot of the other career paths have to go through. They're literally placed through our registered apprenticeship partners with a contractor. And there are many contractors. The biggest ones and probably in our area are Turner and Smoot. Turner Construction is very large, but you know, they're actually placed with a contractor depending on what trade they're in, where the work lies, and you know, there's a lot of different factors, but they may not stay with the same contractor throughout their career. So when our graduates, you know, some of our graduates are out at Turner on the Facebook project, and they'll likely be out there for 15 years. We just took 3 individuals out of our current class early as electricians and put them on the crew stadium. That's the new soccer stadium in Columbus that they're building. They may only be at that stadium for 3 months, and then they may transition to the new Hilton downtown to help with that expansion. But the great thing is they never have to wonder where their next paycheck is coming from. They never have to wonder if they're going to make the same amount of money. All that stuff is handled by our registered apprenticeship partners within the building trades. So that is a benefit that we kind of say to this program. Right now, next year, there's about $3.5 billion worth of shovel in the ground work in Columbus. And that does not look like that will be letting up anytime soon. The growth here is phenomenal. And so the outlook for the building trades for the next 10 years is extremely positive. And so, you know, our graduates will have the opportunities that many before them didn't have. And that's not even taking into account whatever the later infrastructure bill will wind up looking like coming from the White House. So, you know, our graduates have an opportunity to come into a career path where they'll be, one, sought after and bid for, because the great thing is I can tell our graduates what their minimum pay will be, but I can't tell them what their maximum pay will be. So a lot of our graduates get bid for, you know, so their minimum pay might be $18, but another contractor might have to pay them $25 to get them to come out to that job. So it's a great time to be in the skilled trades right now.
It is, and I think that was a big number, and definitely noteworthy for you to point out all of the construction, both residential, industrial, and everything else that's going on in Central Ohio. I mean, we're definitely booming, and I'm glad to be here. Connor and Antonio, I want to go back for a second. I know that you have been working on some special projects and developing more relationships with individuals that participate in your program and transition on. Can you talk a little bit about those new projects and the developments that you've been working on?
Well, I can say, I will say one of the things that we've been working on, and I think a lot of people on this call share my same sentiment, is just be able to partner more and work together with other organizations, because everybody can't do everything, right? So when I look at when we look at situations, right, one of the things that we identify, we started working a little bit more with impact. So we actually are, you know, within their build up program, where our participants can actually get an NCCER certification, which is, you know, a certification that's really sought after in the construction field as well. So our participants are able to we are able to actually refer them to their organization, and likewise refer people to ours, where participants don't necessarily want to get into the construction field or, you know, a CDL or anything like that. So we're trying to work together more with our partners in Columbus, because again, you know, that's the only way I believe that we're going to have more success, you know, with these people returning home. So that's one of the main things that we just started doing here recently. And we actually had our first participant go over there and start tomorrow with them. So that's going to be, we're anxious to see how that works out, but we are always looking to partner with more organizations on a consistent basis and support our community to help them make that transition. Obviously, understanding that when first coming home, they definitely have to have, you know, something like us, get them going, get them started, get them transitioned, and then move into other phases. So we've got some phenomenal partnerships. We just partnered with our MPW and Honda partner, where we have a crew. They are starting to work out at their facility and interested in hiring our people on full time, which is great. So we've got a few things in the fire, and we're just looking to continue to build more relationships in Columbus with our other partners here on this call and everybody in the community. Connor, if you want to add anything to that.
Yeah, I want to echo what Tony was saying about the collaborativeness, about collaborations in general in Columbus. Obviously, we know, as Leland, as you said, it's a great time to be in Columbus. The growth is happening. There's a lot of businesses coming in. There's a lot of stuff happening in the city. but we recognize we want to definitely be collaborative rather than competitive with helping this demographic of people who so often gets overlooked in all of the competition. So we do a lot of intentional partnerships with other organizations. We also are working on, now that COVID is slowly, we're slowly opening things back up and going back to some sort of normal. We have more partnerships for OSHA, for forklift, for different industries that our clients want to get in, customer service, serve safe for people who want to get into the food industry, things like that. So it really depends on the field that our individual wants to get into. But if, like I said in the beginning, if they put the effort in, we will find the hard skill certifications and trainings they get to do.
Thank you, Connor. Aiden, I need you to, I'm going to throw an alley-oop to you, but I need you to dunk it for me so that Miss Bivens and Mr. Wilson can hear this. So once I actually completed the cohort and it was time for us to get look into the internships and everything else, what did I share with you about my present employment opportunity?
We talk so much, I'm not quite sure exactly what you're asking about.
Remember I kept saying, hey, I don't want to look into it because I'm working in my current position now.
Yes. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Actually, I think our initial meeting, right, in your interview, there are some people that we allow to take or we admit into the program that have an interest for their jobs, right, to see what that application is, what it would be like for possibly people entering in their locale, as well as quite a few people also take the course because they have a job opportunity where they can move within their company, right? We have somebody right now who was at a hospital hospital system in New York City, and now he's moving into a software developer role for that organization, right? So it's a kind of a move within the company.
Aiden, you blew the dunk. You blew the dunk, Aiden. You blew the dunk. But anyway, I want to ask you a little bit more about the internships. I mean, we're living in a virtual world. It's a virtual space. IT is all over the place. And like I said, we really have a robust community here. Can you talk a little bit about the internships, the relationships that you have with various companies and what that looks like, and especially potentially what that could look like for us that are just as involved here in Franklin County? What would that kind of look like?
Yeah, for sure. I think that's one of the most important things that we do is we work very closely with some of the largest tech companies on providing internships to students after they finish. I think that, all of the work that we're engaged in here, right, is transition, right? Whether or not it be from somebody that's just returned home or somebody that's really trying to enter into a career that very few people before have ever done, right, that have gone through prison. And so what we do is we have 6 to 9 months, we actually call them apprenticeships, right? So where students are going in, where they don't have the skill on day one to enter into a junior software developer role, but where they're assigned with somebody throughout that period of time that they check in with every day, but where they're slowly increasing the difficulty of their assignments and how much autonomy they have in the job. And I think this is really such an essential way for people to enter into high wage growth careers. I think there's been a lot of great research actually recently through the Harvard Center for Workforce about the importance of these transitional apprenticeships. And I think that's also one of the things I realized we didn't mention. A lot of what we do and why we see it as so important as doing this work at Columbia University as well, is that we do that education with these employers, right? About what is fair chance hiring look like? What is the problem of mass incarceration, so that you're leading both culture change within the organization, but also providing these opportunities where it's really that bridge to employment, right? Because what we're doing, for example, with our program is really saying, let's do what would normally take 4 years in an undergraduate computer science degree. Let's do that in 9 to 12 months. And 3 months or 3.5 months of that is our program. But then all of the rest of it is that apprenticeship afterwards, where people get that real world experience and where they're making, a very high wage even in the beginning, but then where they have that bridge again towards that employment at the end. And I think it's a huge opportunity because there's a huge talent shortage in the tech industry right now, and a huge drive to push diversity hiring as well. And, as we know, mass incarceration disproportionately affects communities of color. And so I think that we see unique opportunities with the tech industry to really find those jobs and also provide that support to enter into them.
Thank you. So we only have a couple more minutes. I think we have 6 exactly. I want to do a quick speed round and just ask that you share a little bit of encouragement to our community here in Central Ohio before we pass it back to our county administrators. I'm going to start with Antonio and Connor, then I'll go to Leland. I'll ask you, Aiden, and then, like I said, we'll pass it back to our leader. So give us a kind word of encouragement, Connor and Antonio, as we move forward today.
Well, I guess I could say, for all of those participants that are out there looking to get a second chance in life, opportunities are out there. You just have to be willing to take the first step, and there are organizations like ours and everybody else is there to support you and truly want to be champions there for you to see you have that success. So, one of the things about CEO, if you are, looking to get back started in the labor force, we have no restriction on conviction. So don't feel that, just because you were convicted of something, you can't start over. You can't, make that road to making changes in your life and have success. So just, we're there, and we're there to support you, all of us.
I will follow up and say my kind word. We know that many people who go in, to paraphrase an old genius, a dream deferred, sometimes we feel like is gone forever. But we know that we're doing what we can in Columbus to help those dreams come back and be realized for people coming into our program and for coming into the other programs in the community as well. So I believe and I'm confident in Columbus right now in what we're doing in Reentry. And to those people who are looking for a chance, looking for a shot, and looking to find those dreams again, I would say now is the time to fight.
Thank you, Connor. Leland?
I think I'm gonna sound like a broken record, but I just want to say to those individuals that are out there contemplating on what their next move is or what they can do, you live in a community where our leadership is very, very, very dedicated to making sure that you have the opportunities. County Administrator Wilson and Deputy County Administrator Joy Bivens, whenever I speak to them, they are trying to figure out a way or a different way or another way or a better way to serve our community as a whole, but to represent the underserved people in our community and get them a path to the middle class. So they have tasked all the nonprofits, faith leaders, the NAACP, with coming up with greater ideas and more opportunities and more pathways to make sure that the people of Columbus and Franklin County have the opportunities that they deserve. So it's a great time to be in this community, and there will be opportunities to be taken advantage of. And I think that is the message that I want people to understand.
Thank you, Leland. And our friend Aiden?
Yeah, definitely. I guess I would just echo everybody's sentiments here that I think, I know for myself, so many of our students, so many of my friends that I made while I was incarcerated, we just feel like it's kind of the end, right? And you come home and there's going to be no opportunity. And I would first say it's going to be hard. It's hard for all of us, much harder for some others. I think, really the biggest determinant is what access to resources do you have? But I would say there's a lot of great work being done here. We've actually worked with CEO before on supporting with our recruitment for the program. And, I think that these partnerships that are happening between organizations can lead to paths and different directions where there are just so many more options than there once were. And I would also just say to everybody in this space, all of us here talking today, that it is through this collaboration that we're going to be able to really, to me, end the crisis of mass incarceration, really through looking at how do we provide a pathway to a living wage and different careers that people traditionally considered that they were closed off to. And would just say to everybody here, definitely reach out. Would love to chat and support your programs and see if there's any way we can help with your participants in any way possible as well.
Thank you, Aiden. And lastly, I'll pass it off to our leaders, Deputy County Administrator Bivens and County Administrator Wilson for closing remarks. We appreciate you being here today.
I'm gonna be extremely brief. I just want to leave with these words for individuals that are seeking that second chance. Don't give up. Be resilient. There are people out there that want to help you turn the page and rebuild your life. Specifically, as Mr. Bass says, is one of the things that Franklin County is committed to. So folks should go to jpp.franklincounty.gov and they will be connected to a helping hand. I'm committed to that in this work we've been doing for quite some time in the reentry space and creating second chances. Deputy Administrator Bivens.
Again, thank you, Justice Policy and Program. Thank you, Johnny, for this phenomenal conversation, and to all the panelists. The only thing that I would say is this. Many times our past, no matter whatever it is, because of shame, guilt, fear will paralyze you and make you feel like you don't have a voice or you can't walk into a door. We will tell you in Franklin County, we are welcoming, we are open to justice-involved citizens. That is why we ask many of our justice-involved citizens to be at the table as we're scoping out this work. Kudos to Franklin County and the Franklin County Commissioners, because I can speak for the Building Futures program. It has received a national award from the National Association of Counties. We have other counties wanting to rebrand and reduplicate this work, which is good for us because there's other citizens outside of Franklin County who need this. So thank you to everyone. And I'll excuse my typos because I cannot see because the sun is in my eye and I can't see what letters I'm pushing. But I just wanted to make sure that, you can go to Impact for some of our community opportunities with Driving Futures, as well as the Columbus Urban League for Building Futures. And they also have a Driving Futures program as well. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone. Tune in to CentralOhioReentryWeek.com and check out everything that we have in store today. Thank you, our panelists, and thank you, leadership, for being with us today. Have a good one.